to stop now and see whether or not we are working.
It doesn't like me today.
We'll go on. Signe, Dorothy gave you a lovely preamble.
Yes.
I wish she'd do it again. I'm sure it'll record this time. And then you can tell about when you came over.
That's right.
Yeah, well, this preamble wasn't very satisfactory, so if you will do something else now, I will oblige.
Okay, well, now you just tell us about taking the boat by yourself.
Oh, my. Well, I took the boat by myself, all right. And I came over, such as it was nice, and I ate too much, of course. But I had a good time, and everything was very uneventful on the boat going over. I had a friend down in third. I was the big one, you know. I was on second because my uncle thought that would be easier for me, bless his heart, to get, you know.
This uncle in this country?
Yeah, he was in this, he's dead now, but he was here, that's whom I came to. And so, well, I came to New York. Well, of course, I had never been away from the little village where we came from at home, so that was pretty much of a sight to see New York. I clung to everybody's heels going over. I was scared of everything. Never seen it.
How old were you?
22, but I'm ashamed to tell it. I might have been 18. Would have been more like it. But anyway, I've never seen a colored person.
Oh, really?
Never.
Oh,
So here comes we were going off in Washington, which he had not told me. So I thought, well, we're not supposed to go off here. So I got my suitcases and I put them right there by me, and I thought, well, anybody comes and gets this, what are they going to have me to deal with? So here come a red cap or whatever you call him, a colored man. Well, I've never seen a colored man in my life. And he come too close to me, and I was so scared. And I lifted up my suitcases and held them. And then he started to take them, and I said, no, they. And so that means no. So he said, yeah, so he went and got the conductor. And he said, well, that was all right. And I thought, well, all right, I'll have to go. I guess I don't know where I came to, but I've come somewhere. And so this was in Washington. So he went up in the big, I know everybody has been in Washington. That was my first and last trip. And that big waiting room there. And I sat there clutching my suitcases and my pocketbook where I had the ticket in. There was nothing else, I'm sure. But anyway, so I sat there and hung two doors and didn't dare to let them get out of my sight, you know. So here comes the traveler's aid. Well, I didn't know who that was either. Of course, nobody had told me. So she come and pointed on my pocketbook. And she said, ticket? And I thought, oh no, you don't get in there.
We can't hear you if you let your voice down, Signe.
And then I will let it up again.
That's right.
So she said, ticket, pointed on my pocketbook. And I thought, well, my gosh, you have nothing to do in there, do you? And she said, ticket. But the only thing, I had a couple of dollars maybe in my pocketbook, but that was all. So I thought, well, maybe she wants to see the ticket. And I took that up and I sat here, and she walked way over there and disappeared. And I thought, oh well, I know where you went to. And if you don't come back pretty soon, I will be there too. So I sat there and waited, and she came with it, all right. And it was very nice. And so I thought, well, I guess so I got it. Well, then when it comes time, here comes the red cap again, and I wasn't afraid of him this time, so I let him take it.
Let's run it back, see what we got.
That's great. All right.
Now go ahead and talk. You're still in the station in Washington?
Yes, I was still in the station in Washington. Well, I finally got out of there, and the travelers aid took me down to the train. And I thought, well, all right then, I am on the train. And I went in there and sat, and it was getting towards evening. So we got up on the train started, and I didn't know where we were going. I knew we were going to Jacksonville, Florida, but how did I know how far it was? I didn't know anything about it. So we went and we went and we went. And it was, well, the one that put me on the train in New York gave me, of all things, candy. I had candy till I was so sick I thought I'd die. And so then it was two old people, a very old couple sitting behind me. And I had my Swedish newspaper, and I thought, well, I'm going to look big and read that, you know, that could make them something to look at. So I was reading my paper, and they were wondering. So they tapped me on the shoulder, and I said, that's good. And no, they wanted to give me a sandwich.
Oh, nice.
And of course I ate it. It was unpolite, very unpolite at home not to eat what anyone gave you. And I thanked them the best I could. Well, here comes another sandwich man, and I got another one. Sick as a dog already. But I didn't dare to leave it because they had given it to me. So I ate sandwiches, and I didn't know. Well, I had to quick get out of there. Then, of course, it was hard to find the bathroom. I knew what I was supposed to say, where I was going to go. Which one, you know, men and ladies. But I thought, well, I got to go whether I come on the wrong one or not. That's all there is to it. So, but I got in 2 hours. Thank goodness. I think I did. And I come back, and the old couple were still sitting there. And here come coffee. Here was coffee. And I thanked and talked to Micka, you know, talked to Micka, be so thankful, you know, and drank the coffee. And I thought, well, I don't know now. But all night long, those people fed me. It was ridiculous. And it was not polite at home, you know, and saying, nay talk, well that, of course they wouldn't have known what I said, but for me to refuse, I wasn't raised that way. So I ate some more sandwich and drank some more coffee. Well, I had several trips to you know where, but it got morning, and the bird, well, I think they stopped feeding me about morning. I think they went to sleep. And so then towards morning, well, that was kind of getting light, and at 9 o'clock, well, I had no watch or anything, but then they were supposed to, the one was going to meet me. We were supposed to be in New York. And I thought, well, no, in Jacksonville we are supposed to be, in Jackson. And I thought, so I saw all this come on the train, you know, at the train at home, it's so beautiful on each side, you know. And I come down, way down in Georgia, you know, into these rockety stations. And I thought, oh my, is this a station? That I couldn't believe, see, because it was always so pretty at home. And here was this stuff falling down. And I thought, well, I don't know where I have come now, but I certainly didn't come where I thought I was going to, you know. But when I finally got into Jacksonville, then my uncle was there. Then that's one episode gone and another one beginning. I don't know. That's the worst one though. But anyway, so I was glad to see my uncle, and he wanted to know about everybody from whom you know, and I wanted to cry. I didn't want to tell him. I felt bad. I had come there and I saw all this terrible stuff. And then they had always said, oh yes, you know, and come to America where you don't have to, you know, they have inside bathrooms. I didn't know what they were talking about. And well, lo and behold, when we got home, the very first thing I needed to go. So, it was an old outhouse, just like I left at home. I've never been so disappointed in all my life. I thought, well, now I come to America for this, that I don't believe. But then anyway, after that, things, well, the trip was a lot better than what the rest of it is.
Well, then you...
Then how did Dr. Dickey find you?
Well, Dr. Dickey never found me, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Oh, yes, and I came to Pierce, and that's where my uncle lived. He had a church there. And so Mrs. Turnquist, that was Evelyn Dickey's mother, she lived there. And we were out there, and I met Evelyn, and she said, well, this is the girl that I would like to go with me. And I had several other jobs before I got away from there, but then the Dickey offer was just too good, and it sounded a lot better. And so I took him up on it, and so that's how we come down here. And I arrived, I am sitting now in old Mother Dickey's house, and that's exactly where I came when I first came in 1927. End of story.
Well,
And then you met Jimmy.
Yes, then you went up to Virginia.
Oh yes, then I went with them to Virginia in the summer. That was lovely.
That's when I met you.
Yeah.
Up there.
I enjoyed that. And I always thought it was so nice because whenever we were invited anywhere, I was invited too.
Sure.
You know, and it was just so nice. It was just like home. And
See, that was the year Margaret was born.
Oh.
So she bring Marie over.
oh
And
yes,
Marie and Margaret and Junior.
Everybody, oh yes, and then they would come up there and one. Oh, Mary had a lot of fun. But I always would. She would talk to Dorothy. There was never any question unless I was invited. You know, I was invited, and I wanted to help the colored woman with the dishes, but she wouldn't let me know. I was to go in and sit. And I thought, well, I could sit, but I would like to, help a little. But I didn't, because she didn't let me. And there was her kitchen, and so that was all right.
Well, then you came on back down here the next year.
Yes, I came
And,
here.
and then we were trying to catch up with when you met Jimmy and all that.
Well, that was the first year, I guess. Oh, I tell you, they had told me so much about Jimmy. Everybody had told me, oh yes, wait till you meet Jimmy. Well, there wasn't very long. I don't think I've been there half an hour till something came. And that was Jimmy. He isn't too bad looking, that's all
We
right.
can't hear you.
Anyway, so he wasn't too bad looking, I thought, but here he came. And I think the next day, no, well, there was on the weekend anyway. I don't know if they had a dance up on Cassin's porch. I don't know that you know where Cassin lived or not.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so I was invited there, and of course I met Clarence and Joe and Paul Gore and one they called Keeler. Now him I did not like. Oh, how I hated kids. And he wanted to dance with me. And I said no. So afterwards he said, oh, did I do something? Excuse me. I'm talking too much.
Well, let's quit for the day.
And so, when I don't cough, I'm all right, but so anyway, so he come and ask me one day, well, what did I do? I said, you didn't do anything. You didn't need to do anything because I don't like you.
Go ahead.
Well, we started down here, down Captiva from Pearson. That's where we were, and Evelyn and Herman were there too. And we started down here. Well, we came, the farther south we came, the worse it looked to me. And it was so hot and so dusty all over everywhere. When we came across the bridge, there it was nothing. No trees, no nothing. The water there, the water over on the other side. And I thought, well, no, I don't know where I have come. This looks like a, what do you call it? Well, anyway, that didn't look like nothing to me that I had ever thought I would see. But those trees, I don't think had been planted, or if they had just been planted, that I have forgotten. But we came...
I can tell you about that when I was there in 23, they were about 10 feet tall.
Oh, Then they had just, you see, they had been planted then. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, they weren't doing anything good, you know, because you could see the water from both sides. And so Herman got the hay fever. Oh, boy. And he was sneezing and coughing all the way over. And I felt bad. I had something wrong with my stomach or something. And I was sick all the way. So when we got there, we finally got down to Mother Dickie's house. And here was, Evelyn wanted to walk over to the greenhouse, to her greenhouse. And so we went, and there was I was so thirsty, and there was a beautiful water running, you know, out of the artesian well, no less. And I was drinking. Oh boy, that was going to be good. Well, I lost everything I'd had for 2 days anyway. And I said, you mean this is the kind of water you have here? Well, I am not going to stay. I mean, I am going back. And she says, well, we have other water. Well, where is it? Well, it was all hot and miserable, you know, nothing. So then we got in and got the pump going, so that was a little better. Well, we had no ice, and it was kind of a mess. But anyway, we got, that was my first day. So I was sick as a dog, so Evelyn said, well, why don't you go upstairs and lay down? Well, I was glad to do it, because I felt so miserable. I didn't care if I cleaned or anything or helped. So I went on upstairs. Well, then in the meantime, Dr. Benning, an old doctor who I think some people know him, and he came upstairs. He came to see us, and here he came, so Evelyn brought him upstairs. And what should he say? But this terrible word, give her a dose of castor oil. Well, I thought, I don't know. I've never had castor oil in my life. Well, she brought it just because he said it. And I had the old castor oil. I wanted to throw it up, but she stood there. And there was nothing I could do. But that drink of artesian water, that was about the worst I ever saw. Well, anyway, it got better. I got better the next morning. I slept, and I felt better. And we did a few things. And so things kind of evened up. It was kind of, then I kind of started to like it. And of course I was so near the water till the Gulf till I could go swimming. And Maria and I went swimming all the time. Oh, we just had a good time. And,
Now that was Marie Coleman.
yeah, Marie Coleman.
Marie Dickey Coleman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she was 5 years old when I came there, see. And she and I was, well, we had good friends once in a while. Then we were born enemies the next because she played tricks on me. And I didn't like it. She was very tricky, the little thing. And one day she crawled under the bed, in my bed, under the way into the other side. So I called her and called her and called her. No, she wasn't. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I ran down, there was a well down on the hill, and I ran down there to see if she had gotten in there. Or someone noticed. Well, then when I come back, she was snickering under the bed. Well, boy, she didn't stay there very long. I grabbed her and I whipped her. Not too hard, but a little, and she needed it.
Oh, Marie would be interested in hearing this time now, wouldn't she?
Well, that's the gospel truth. She wasn't any bigger than so, but I took her out and I whipped her. But she was all right. She knew what she could do with me after a while because, of course, at first, and I didn't know, but that she was so tricky. But we got along all right.
Well, we better get back to Jimmy pretty soon.
Yeah, all right then. And then, well then, this is enough of that. Now Jimmy came to see me.
It stopped. This time.
Yes, it did.
Something went wrong when you were over on the island, too.
It sure did.
And we had all kinds of problems. Well, okay.
Is it good now?
I hope so.
Yeah, all right. Well, we started with the in the old bathhouse that was across the road, and he moved it back, and there was nothing but a shell, but that's all we had, so we made do with it.
Now this is what we know as on the end of what we know of as Palm Avenue.
Yeah,
Right.
it's Palm Avenue, and we had one table, and I had Steiners. They were the first ones I had. This was 1931, and so they came. Well, they were very satisfied, and every night, and I learned what Steiner wanted and what he didn't want, and so then afterwards the Herzogs came. Well, we had to run and get some more tables. Well, Jimmy came in with one, and I don't know whether I asked him, well, you got it or not, but he got one. Well, then another couple came, so then we had to have another one. But believe it or not, I never bought but 2 tables for that whole restaurant the whole time I was there. They were given to him. He was the man that hauled, you know, with the truck and everything, and iceman and so on and so forth.
I want to ask you, these were the bathhouses originally for
the Fisherman's Lodge.
Okay.
And that was, then I guess they didn't use it anymore because they evidently wanted to get it out of there. Well, there was only one board on the outside over the 2x4s. And it rained. Oh my, I remember one time I was fixing, so I was making rugs because it was so bare, you know, the bare floors and everything. So I was making rugs, and I sat there and cut a rug, you know, oh, I don't know
Cut
what
rag rugs.
Rag rugs,
Rag
you
rugs.
remember.
I remember, yes.
And it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And of course there was nothing to hinder it from coming in. So I moved the couch a couple of times, and I did some more rags, but finally I got the rugs all over the house. I was ashamed of it the way it was. The floor wasn't too clean either, or too presentable. But anyway, but then it started to, as the time went on, it started to rain. And the porch was only screened, and we had a curtain to roll down. Didn't do much good. And they make so much noise, and so we had to come in. Well, I was over there cooking, and the guests were over here. I don't know how they did it, or how they put up with it. I don't understand. But
I understand because the food was delicious.
Well, I hope that, well, there couldn't have been anything else. Because that was the most dilapidated place that anybody ever wanted to eat. But somehow we made it. So as the time went on, we got the two cottages that Nat had gotten from the old bootlegger, I forgot Woodring. And so we went and got those, and then I had 8 rooms. Oh boy, was I proud. But I never worked so hard in my life. I had to be down there and not cooking, and oh, it was a mess. But somehow I made it.
Signe, this was called Gulfview Inn.
Yes.
As you, that's what you, the name you had for it.
Yes.
Now, also, what about Roy and Carl? You were so busy. When did you have Roy and Carl?
Well, that must have been in between somewhere. Yeah, these I'll tell you, they took care of themselves. They were the best children you ever saw in your life. They just went along there with the guests, and they never bothered anything. And the guests enjoyed them, you know, just tykes. And as they grew up, well, then they had to help me. They had to serve. Oh boy. But Carl served when he was just little. And then he got one time, then he was having something, and then we had a lady, Mrs. Gillis. And I am sorry to say, but she was not a favorite of any of us. Well, he went and he dumped the whole thing in her lap. So he said, he come back to the kitchen, and he says, Mama,
Louder.
I dumped the thing in Mrs. Gillis' lap. And I said, well, I'm glad that was her. But she had pants on her, so it went down under the table. But he said, I'm not going in there anymore. Oh, yes, I said, you're going in there right now. And he said, I don't dare. I said, go with you. So I said, we took that up and we cleaned up and we excused ourselves, you know, just a little excuse, and went on. And he went in there, he never hesitated anymore. Then he was serving, then we were really full. One day it was all over the place. And Dr. Malone was eating in there. And Carl went in there, and he was holding soup, and he was afraid he was going to get away from him. He put the thumbs in the soup. He couldn't help it. This soup came and sloshed up on the thumbs. So he said, well, that wasn't so good either. But then he sneezed in the coffee. He says, so Dr. Malone said that, well, so you go back and bring me another cup of coffee. I said, stand there for a minute, turn around 2 or 3 times, and then I said, you take the coffee. And we did. That's the truth.
I think this is great. Now, let me see. I believe I heard you took Roy and went back to Sweden.
Oh, that was in 1933. See, he's born in 31. He was 2 years old. He had a second birthday in Sweden. And oh, they made so much. My sister made the biggest birthday cake for him you ever saw. And he ate till I think he was sick most of the day. But anyway, we had a very good time. And he was such a little boy. He was very short. And in the boat they had a big rug rolled up, sort of. I don't know, they hadn't got, oh, they were going to dance, that's right. Well, he ran from one end of that rug to the other, and everybody around clapped their hands. He didn't fall off or nothing. So then there comes somebody else, oh yeah, they're going to do well, they fell off right away. But this little tyke went across, and everybody just ha-ha'd, you know, because they thought that was good. And so we had a lovely trip over. But how come that we could go? I think I better touch on that too. Jimmy had some checks that laid in on the dresser. He was never very careful what he put it, so I guess he put it in there for me to take care of. Well, I got it down into the wastebasket, and out it went for several $100s. Well, so that was from the Bank of Fort Myers. Now, I don't know how far back any of you go to know Bank of Fort Myers, but that's the first bank that was here. And the Bank of Fort Myers closed. So, we didn't have any money. So Jimmy always used to say, well, you know, I was so mad at you, I was so upset with you. But he said, that's a good thing that you burnt those checks, because we got others, you see, to take their place. And otherwise we couldn't have gone. And that was the going to Sweden. And we had a whole truck.
I hadn't heard that story. I hadn't heard that. That's interesting.
The truck?
About the checks.
Oh, the checks. Well, but that was the reason that we could go.
Well, then, I want to. You said something one time about the doctor telling you had to quit working.
Well, that was when I sold Garfield. Because I wasn't feeling too good, and he said, well, I think you've worked long enough now. You've worked too hard anyway. He was always saying that. And so I thought, well, we'll try to sell it then and come up here. What?
And now we're up in, we're in Alva, aren't we?
Yeah, in between Olga and Alva.
We're up in Alva now,
Hickey's
family
Creek.
farm at Hickey's Creek.
Yeah. And that's 35 years since we moved here. And I love it. I just love it. But this was a very dilapidated place when we came here. And there was just one window here, one, high up. No, not a big window. So Jimmy put that in. And there was no windows there either except one small one. So he put that in. And the front steps and all the steps that was there was falling off. And so we got new cement steps. And everything was believe it or not, they had painted this halfway out here with aluminum paint.
Oh, mercy. Oh. Well, you got this one all fixed up, and then you went back and started Smorgasbord on Captiva, didn't you?
Yeah, because the money was getting very tight here, and we didn't have much, and so I said, well, I can go back to what I did before. I can still do that. And so I went back, and Mr. Darling had gotten the store, and Parker was going to, then he had gotten Parker to run it. First he came to ask me, then Parker came. So I said, well, I don't know, I thought I had enough of that, but I'll try. And I'll try. Well, Parker was going to run this store, and I was going to run the restaurant. Well, yeah, it went. It was all right. And then, of course, I made a little money then, so that if there was anything lacking here, why I put in what I had. When I came back in the spring, stayed down there all winter. And so it was that's how that started. And it was a lot of work and aggravation in the store, but boy, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was wonderful food. And for the people that know the store, it's part of the store now, but originally there was a screen porch around the edge, kind of, and that's where you served.
Kind of, that's
That's a good way to put it.
yeah.
And it's
kind of.
all enclosed now.
Oh, yeah, I haven't been there, you see.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
This
And-
started when the store began and the smorgasbord began about what year?
Well, the store was there. How long had Parker been running the store?
No, he hadn't been running the store. He started when I started.
I see, but the store was there.
Yeah.
The
but
store
this
had
is-
been there for a while.
But
I
this
don't know.
is the Watson. Do you remember her?
I know the name, yeah.
Well, she had this store.
Uh-huh.
And she made a heck of a mess of it. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's true. And so it wasn't much in there either. I'll never forget. I got over there just before Thanksgiving. And Parker had taken so many reservations. Never mind what I had to cook on. I didn't have anything but the apartment stove. That's all I had. And I said, well, I don't know. So I borrowed roasters from anybody, big roasters, you know, but I cooked about 3 or 4 turkeys. And I had them in roasters all over the place. And then I cooked one in the oven. And, but it was good. And we had about, 40 people anyway. I don't remember now. But we had a heck of a lot of them. And that was my first Thanksgiving. I was never so tired in my life. Just that little stove, you know, to try to cook on and have the gravy and the coffee and, oh boy. But that went, that's how it started. And every Saturday we had smorgasbord there in the store. And Parker had to clear off the front counter for me, because that's where I put the food. Well, he wasn't going to take it off till, yeah, I really have to, he says. Well, I said, you have to right now, because I want to put some food there. Well, we had little words once in a while, but that wasn't too bad. We soon got good friends. And so I sat down and we put the smorgasbord down there. And, oh my, everybody just enjoyed it so much. Joe lived over there in his little shack, and he did the palm hearts for me every Saturday. And he put palm hearts. So he cut it. Well, one time, there was really funny, I hadn't gotten it out yet. And who should come first but Hayford? And I thought, oh boy. So I didn't say anything. I never said anything. So he went by, she was in a hurry, so she went. And I didn't say anything. I thought, what? I won't say anything. She's in a hurry, she's ahead of time, so let her go. And so after a while, then Joe brought in the thing, and I slipped it in there so nobody saw it, see. Slipped it in there and set it for her. So she said to me, well, Signe, this is the first time I have ever been here, and you didn't have palm hearts. I said, goodness sakes, I said, it's right over there. Oh, no, it isn't. I didn't see it. Well, I said, you look now. She went back and got it, but it was there, you see. But I had done it, but I didn't tell. Or should I tell? And, but, oh my. But then everybody, and I had 2 settings every Saturday night, and I couldn't get them in on that. Oh my. It was hard, but it was fun too.
I think one of the most interesting times Ernest and I had, we were down there just a weekend, and you had us come after the second sitting.
Yeah.
And we had dinner with you.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of my big memories
Uh-huh.
of my trips to the island.
Yeah, we had fun. I remember.
Do you?
Yeah.
Good.
And because I wanted you to come when the others came, you see, but I didn't have a room. And so I thought, well, there's always an after.
We had third table.
Yeah.
There were 2
You had
settings,
third
and then we
table.
ate third table.
Yeah. Third table of the, well, leftovers, you might say, but
Oh, they weren't. They were good.
I guess it was all right. I tried to. I tried to warm it up, you know, and meatballs. I made meatballs by the thousands in the morning. Oh my. It's a lot of wow. Used to come and help me. Well, she made me promise that I wouldn't do the meatballs till she came. Because she wanted to get down in there to her elbows in the meat. And she enjoyed that. Oh, she enjoyed it. And she was awfully good help, and she was so nice. We got along so fine. And I missed her when she quit, but she was awfully good. But I had to promise that I don't touch the meatball till she comes. And I did. And what more?
I'm trying to think. Well, I enjoy having you come over and see me now, and I know you miss the island. And I'm trying to think of some other things that you might know about the people on the island that maybe some of the rest of us don't know. You remember Mr. Chadwick, I guess. Did you ever know Mr. Chadwick?
Oh, yes, I knew him.
Mm-hmm.
I knew her a little better.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I really don't know them very well, because I don't think they liked me at all.
Signe.
That's true.
Okay.
And they never came, and it was all right. She came one time, and she was half dead, and I thought, I made her coffee and everything. I don't know what happened. I didn't see her no more.
Well, then I know that you knew the Darlings very well, and of course
yeah,
everybody loved them.
I was with them in the mud one whole summer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, were you?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and we were on some kind of a road. Well, up there, we were down here. Up there was Howie in the hills. Mrs. Howie. Well, I knew her. So one day we were having company, and I had no flowers in our garden. So I went up and got some. I stole some from Mrs. Howie. I said, well, she wasn't looking. And so, of course, that was all right. They were friends. But anyway, she said, so Mrs. Darling said, well, what did you, Signe, for? Did you get those flowers? I said, I stole them from Mrs. Howie out there. She said, well, Signe, she shook her head. Signe, there's no hope for you. That was just all there was to it. She just couldn't imagine. Well, now tell me something, because I have run out of something to say all by myself now.
I went to school with Mary Darling.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they live right down below, you see.
Yeah.
Mary and Dick, and then the other brother, and his wife lived up the other way. And oh, they were so nice to me. I enjoyed them. And Mr. Darling had, he was great on parties. And Mr. Hoover, Herbert Hoover was there. We had him for dinner.
This was at the smorgasbord?
No, this was in Des Moines.
Oh, this is in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was, oh my goodness, and he wanted to put on the dogs, really. And I said, well, I don't know too much about these fancy things, I said. But I said, wouldn't you get somebody to wait on the tables, because I am better off in the kitchen than I am in on the table. I said, I'll do something wrong and I'll disgrace you. So he got somebody. Well, you know, you have to run with one thing on in and out, and I had never done that. I always took my hands full in the, you know, much as I could carry. Well, you couldn't do that. But oh my, we had fun. And Mr. Hoover had the nicest dinner. Well, all he had was the fish. And we had chicken afterwards. He didn't touch it. And lots of other things he didn't touch. He had the fish. I remember that. But they had cocktails. I think they had plenty before we ever got in there. But anyway. Well, now where were we after that?
Well, you were up there, but I was just trying to think of the different people that you knew on the island, that people on the island now would know about. I know you knew the Lindberghs.
Oh, yes, I knew the Lindberghs.
That's what you started.
And he lived down in
The Green Cottage.
yes, they were close to the Gorse Road, you know, what went into the post office.
Well, he lived in Herman and Evelyn's house the first year. They rented
Oh,
that.
yeah, the green one.
The Green Cottage.
Yes. Oh, all right, the green cottage.
Mhm.
Well, anyway, so Well, I don't know where I was now.
Okay, you're all right. Go ahead.
Do you remember anything about any of the Lindbergh visits down?
Yes, I do.
Did they come to your...
They used to come up and eat. They didn't stay with us, but they used to come and eat. And they were the nicest people you ever want to have. And he came into the kitchen one morning, and they had their two children with them, and he came into the kitchen to say good morning to me. She was awfully nice. She had stayed with us, and when he wasn't with, she and her sister stayed with us. But he was the nicest person. So I told the people, now this probably I shouldn't have done, but I said that, well now, listen everybody, I would like for you to do something. Now the Lindberghs are coming for dinner tonight, and I would appreciate if you leave them alone, because I'm going to set them over here, I said, by themselves. And if you leave them alone and don't go up and talk to them and ask a lot of questions and make over them, I said, I would appreciate it. So they promised, and they didn't either. And so we just, no, they came and ate quite often. And as I said, he came into the kitchen and he was just all but, he was so polite and so nice, you know, and he talked Swedish too. Yeah. So we had a little conversation. She stood there, I don't think she understood, but that didn't make any difference. Anybody else you would like to ask me about?
I wanted to find out where you came from in Sweden.
Well, I came from Bohuslän. That's in the middle, a little bit further down than the middle of Sweden. And we lived out in the country. I'm a country girl from top to bottom. And anyway, so we had a little farm. My father died when I was little. He came over to this country there was more money in this country and he wanted to do something more for his family. But, so he went. He was gone 3 years and he got tuberculosis. I was afraid that all I know my mother was afraid he had it. His mother died in tuberculosis. And so he wasn't here but 3 years, and then he died. He went to his brother up in Minnesota. And I'm lost again now. What was I going to say? Oh yes, anything else? And then, but I came right to Pearson, you see. Oh, that's what I'm going to do there. Okay.
Signe, I think you have another story to tell us.
Yes, I do have a story from Pearson that will really enlighten you, I hope. But this was in 1926, hurricane. I came in 1925, and I had never seen a hurricane or heard of a storm. So my uncle came upstairs to wake me, and there wasn't hardly light. It was blowing and thundering and doing, you know, and I didn't know what was happening. So he said, oh, come up and help me. The chickens are dying. And I said, what happened to them? Oh, it rained on them and they were piled up this high. In the coop, the top blew off. And such a mess I never in my life saw. I went out there to help him. And he told me, he says, you know, they were the big chickens and they didn't hardly have any feathers on them. And they were laying there in a heap and they were cold. So he said to me, take these in and set them on the stove, he said. And I thought, what? He said, set them on the stove. So on the stove they go. So we had a little oil stove, you know, a 2-burner. Well, the oil stove was on, going full blast, and I put the can up on there. The chickens, all of a sudden, they come flying out, one after the other. And so I thought, well, so I had a box, and I got them up in there when they flew out, and took them back out to him. Then I put some more up in the can, and put them on the stove. And they come flying out, one after the other. And I think I must have revived at least 50 or more. You know, about 3 in a can was all I could have. And so I would put them out. But they were so cold. Some of them had died. They had suffocated from under all the others. But as I say, I survived at least 50. He never thanked me for it, so he must have been thankful person.
I think that's wonderful, but I think if we have a hurricane, we wouldn't have any oil stove and probably no chickens either one. So we wouldn't worry too much about it on the island.
We had oil stove and we had chickens and the roofs blew out. There was just these roofs, tall paper
that was
roofs.
the 26th hurricane.
It's in 26. And he said there was a hurricane.
Yes.
And I said, well, what is that? Then?
I don't know. Do you have anything else to ask her? Because we're practically out of tape, I think.
Okay.
I think we're about out now.
Well, we want to thank you for giving us so much.
I have enjoyed. I hope I touched on some of the subjects that you would like. If you ever want any more, I am here.
Very good. Thank you, my friend.
We'll be back again. Thanks for those, Signe, and I declare it was been more fun.